Hi, thanks for watching. This video is about lubricants to use with your airsoft guns. What is and isn't acceptable. The first thing, and the most obvious set of things, would be the Airsoft Branded lubricants, whether they come in just a bottle of the oil or an aerosol can that sprays the oil in to whatever you're lubricating, right? Versus hardware store options that might be more available and at a lower price than the Airsoft Branded lubricants. I'm thinking, intermediate to beginner level players are going to probably go with whatever's most available to them, and so if you do go with a hardware store type, you just have to be really careful what you use. Not all lubes are created equal. Generally, anything on an airsoft website that says that it's for your airsoft gun is going to be safe. It doesn't matter if it's just the liquid or in the aerosol can. Not a whole lot of difference between those two, except there's some sort of propellant. It is pure silicone. There shouldn't be anything added unless it's specified. Now, that aside, let's go to the hardware store options, because that's where everything starts getting a little bit less obvious. So brands like Liquid Wrench, and I can't really think of any others except Liquid Wrench, have a lot of petroleum-based products in it. If you're using it for strictly the barrel in your AEG because it needs to be lubed, it's probably acceptable, because the barrel's made out of metal anyway, or should be if you have a decent gun that you're bothering to lube. The hop-up bucking would probably be an issue because it is like rubber or some sort of rubber type material that could be affected by a really low grade hardware store lubricant. But if you don't mind taking your gun apart and replacing it every now and then, it could be cheaper to spend a really low amount on the oil versus a really high amount, and then buy a hop-up bucking and change it out every now and then. However, there is one particular hardware store lubricant that I've found that is perfectly safe to use on your airsoft guns, that being the Dupont Teflon Silicon lubricant, because it's O-ring safe. It's also safe on plastics and things, so you don't have to worry about the petroleum products inside of it softening up the plastic pieces in your gun. That is a huge problem on some of those cheap ones. So I'm even currently using this on my KJW 1911, and if I'm willing to use this stuff on a very expensive gas pistol, it's safe stuff, because I'm very obsessive about the things that I use. They have to be on par with the highest quality crap, or I don't use it. Now this is 10 ounces, and I paid about $5 for it. With the Teflon in it, I find that to be an added bonus, because it's a very slick material, and I really think that it's better than just the silicone on its own, because if you use this on your AEGs, if you use it on your gas blowback pistols, the normal wear that the slide makes on the frame is reduced by having that in there. It creates an extra slick environment so that there's not a whole lot of grinding of the pieces. Now, you might not feel the same, you might not be comfortable with going with a hardware store lubricant, but if it wasn't a thought in your mind, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. If you are planning it at all, don't get the Liquid Wrench kind, only get this. Or anything else that says it's O-ring safe. I just haven't found any personally, because you don't want it to damage the plastic in your gun. You definitely don't want it to damage the seals in your gun, because then you're going to have to spend a lot of money and time to rebuild the whole thing. Mainly the valves in your gas magazine. I've seen the replacement cost on valves for my gun. It's like $10 a piece, so I really don't want to be doing that. However, should any problems arise due to the use of this, I will promptly post videos, but I really don't expect to have any kind of problems. Nothing that would have also happened with the expensive stuff. So, final thoughts on it. This should be okay, definitely, but I wouldn't get any generic, like air compressor lube or pneumatic tools lubricant, because it's not going to be the same grade or weight of oil, and it's probably not going to have Teflon in it, probably not going to be O-ring safe. So stick with Airsoft branded stuff, or specifically stated, O-ring safe, plastic safe, lubricant like this stuff. And hopefully I've helped. Thanks for watching.